Well, here we are, number one on my fantasy playlist the week of November 29th, 1986. Lionel Richie at number one, up from number seven the previous week, and I haven't heard this song in a while. You don't hear it much anymore. Love Will Conquer All, which went to number nine on Billboard's Hot 100. Lionel Richie is from his last big album, which I believe was called Dancing on the Ceiling. The first big hit off that album was Say You, Say Me. That was monster back in the fall of 1985. It was plastered all over the FM radio airwaves. Night Tracks ran the hell out of the video, hot rotation on Night Tracks. Lionel Richie could do no wrong in the early to mid 80s. He had a series of crossover singles and selling out concerts all over the place back in the early to mid 80s. And even in the 70s, too, when he was lead singer of the Commodores, he left the Commodores to do a solo thing in 1981. Had that Endless Love with Diana Ross. That duet with Diana Ross in 1991. It was later redone by Luther Vandross and Mariah Carey in 1994. Lionel Richie, Love Will Conquer All, and of course Dancing on the Ceiling. God, dog, I remember Dancing on the Ceiling. It was one of the best dance records that ever came out. The special effects of the video, even though today it seems trite, boring, it's like, what the? God, look at that. That's the way they did it back then. Yeah, they can do a lot better than that now. But back then, when he was walking across the ceiling upside down, that special effect, that was like, wow. You just had that wow effect right there 30 years ago. Lionel Richie. And that was in the late summer, early fall of 86, right in time for the school season, beginning of school back at around August, September of 86. Love Will Conquer All came out late in 1986. Thanksgiving and Christmas season, and I believe I got to double check, but his last top 10 was Ballerina Girl in 1987, and that reminds me of something else. Does anybody out there, please tell me, does anybody out there remember Deep River Woman? Lionel Richie teamed up with Alabama, and they did a song called Deep River Woman. It was a powerful ballad. Should have been a monster hit. I don't know why it wasn't a hit. Alabama was a big country band, but they had some crossover hits in the early 80s. The Closer You Get was one of them. That song should have been a winner, but only got as high as I forgot the chart position, number 60, number 70 on Billboard's Hot 100. If you remember that song, Deep River Woman, please let me know about it. Lost 45 by Lionel Richie. Love Will Conquer All was written by three people. One of them, Lionel Richie. Another one, Greg Filligans, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Filligans played on some albums by the Jacksons. He played on the Destiny album. He arranged the Destiny album by the Jacksons, which featured Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. That was in 78, 79. And he also played keyboards on the Jacksons, another album by the Jacksons called Triumph, which featured Lovely One and Can You Feel It. This was in 1980, 81. On the song Thriller, off the Thriller album by Michael Jackson, he played high-pitched synth parts on the song Thriller. Greg Villigans did. He co-wrote this record. Cynthia Weil, it's W-E-I-L, she also co-wrote this, and we're talking, oh, God, dog. One of the most brilliant songwriters that ever came around. With Barry Mann, she wrote You Lost That Lovin' Feeling, We Gotta Get Out of This Place by Eric Burdon and the Animals. They wrote Kicks by Paul Revere and the Raiders. They also wrote On Broadway by the Drifters, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking classic Brill building songwriters, Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann, like their contemporaries, Carole King and Jerry Goffin, back in the day. Well, she co-wrote this song by Lionel Richie, Love Will Conquer All, at number one on my fantasy playlist, and that wraps up November 29th, 1986. We're done. Another one bit the dust. The next fantasy playlist I will count down will be for my second Millennium channel. It will be the last week of 2010. December 26, 2010, got Rihanna, got a couple of songs by Rihanna on this playlist. Far East Movement, Like a G6, we'll be talking about that. And Sarah Bareilles, and a lot of British hits on this fancy playlist. And the next playlist I will count down for my 80s and 90s Millennium, my 80s and 90s channel will be, well, pretty much the next to last week of 1990, the week of December 22nd, 1990. And CNC Music Factory got Donny Osmond, one of his comeback hits on this fantasy playlist. God, oh my goodness. Vanilla Ice on this fantasy playlist. And Winger, NXS, the Rembrandts, and gosh, all kinds of lost things on here. A lost record by Papa D I'd forgotten all about on this fancy playlist. Well, the bottom line is we got a mix of lost 45s and, of course, the standards on here, too, as well. And I will start on the 2010 playlist probably this weekend. And on the 1990 survey, fancy survey, I'll get on that probably towards mid to late January. That's it. Thanks for watching these videos. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next countdown. Take care.